2017 has been a fantastic year for genre movies, and horror thrillers have been quite outstanding, both from an artistic point of view and also from just being pure fucking entertaining. So, here is my top 10 list of my favorite horror thriller movies, and I'm putting them together because I don't really think there's a big difference between the two genres. They are just wanting to thrill you in more or less extreme ways. Before we get started, there are some honorable mentions, and the films that didn't make the cut in the top 10 were Split, by M. Night Shyamalan, which was very entertaining with a fantastic lead performance by James McAvoy, but I didn't love it as much as a lot of other people did. Still very entertaining though. Also, Happy Death Day, a pleasant surprise, not an outstanding film of any sort, but thoroughly entertaining, had a lot of fun watching it, and yeah, there are a couple of twists and turns in this Groundhog Day style slasher film that were quite surprising to me. And then Cult of Chucky, the first Chucky Child's Play film I've seen, the only one at this moment, but a ton of fun. Yeah, really fun movie, one of the best revivals of famous slasher icons that we got this year, because Leatherface was bad as fuck. So now that we got this out of the way, let's get started with number 10. Number 10 is definitely a controversial pick. It's Alien Covenant. And I know that a lot of people hate Alien Covenant with a passion, and if I have to be honest, yeah, there are flaws with this film. It's not a perfect film by any means. Some slow pacing towards the beginning, I understand why some people didn't like that. Some predictable moments, especially near the end with a twist, some dumb decisions, yeah, those are all in there, but technically speaking, fantastic film. I really loved it, even though some of the creatures were a little bit too CGI-ish, it did not bother me, and the story, the themes that are tackled, some found them incredibly stupid. I just love that shit. I eat it up every morning, those philosophical mumbo-jumbos about creation, about God, and Michael Fassbender gives a fantastic role performance in this film, one of the most underrated performances of the year. And overall, just a freaking fun alien movie. I was surprised by the lackluster reviews and the box office gain that it got, because, in my opinion, better than Prometheus, but just slightly better than Prometheus. At number 9 is probably another controversial pick, but it's Creep 2. With Mark Duplass. I really liked the first Creep. It was a big surprise when it came out, being a found footage film with a different spin, even though it had a lot of jump scares. And Creep 2 actually improves on that, and this time around we still follow the character of Mark Duplass through the eyes of a vlogger who's just going around interviewing crazy people. And Mark Duplass just says right out of the gate, I'm a serial killer. I kill people and I film them, and I'm just not having fun with that anymore. And starting with this premise and also changing the dynamic between the two main characters, the two only characters in the film, this was incredibly engaging, and it's not for everybody, since I've seen that a lot of people hate this film. I was engaged from start to finish with an ending that was very creepy, to me at least, and it goes in different directions as I did not expect it to go to. It tackles also different themes of creation, art, passion that felt very relevant in an age where a lot of great people have lost passion for what they're doing, and they're just doing it more as a job than as something they love to do. At number 8 is The Devil's Candy, another underrated film from this year, a film that is about metal, that is about demonic possession, that is about just going all out crazy with murder. A very good film with great performances, great family dynamic between all the characters and cast, and a soundtrack that is kick-ass. And it is a very ambiguous film. You never know if there is truly something supernatural going on, and that ambiguity is what kept a lot of the interest alive during the film, and the main villain is very darn disturbing. At number 7 is an unconventional thriller. It's Personal Shopper, more of an art house, artistic, what do you call it, ghost story that is very, very, very weird and unconventional in more ways than one. We follow Kristen Stewart's character who lives in Paris, and she's a personal shopper of a minor celebrity, and she is trying to contact the ghost, the spirit of her brother. There are some hauntings going on. She starts getting weird text messages that probably come from beyond the grave, and it's unusual. It sounds like a wacky B-movie premise, but it's tackled with such an artistic vision that it was very engaging, at the same time very slow, so just know that going into it, but I was barely bored during it, and Kristen Stewart delivers one of the best performances of her career. At number 6 is Better Watch Out, the Christmas holiday horror thriller of the year, which was just a surprise through and through. I started watching it thinking it was going to be kind of an home invasion thriller, but halfway through it goes in an entirely different direction. It is a very great thriller with some very disturbing moments that get under your skin, themes of harassment, of sexual misbehavior, of just being a creepy fucking little kid fucking up with your babysitter, and wow, what a film. At number 5 is the surprise horror hit of the year. It's It, based on the Stephen King novel, and a lot of people love this film to death, and I have to say it's a pretty darn good horror thriller. More because of the characters themselves, because was it scary? No, but it's the fun kind of horror movie, the type that I usually prefer sometimes. Just wanting to be thrilled, having fun watching it, but it was also surprisingly deeper than expected. It is no 100% faithful adaptation of the 1000 and whatever pages long book, which I've actually read recently, but it is a darn good movie. The cast is great, the kids, we all know, they did a great fantastic job in this. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise the Clown, scene-stealing performance, and overall one of the most enjoyable films, horror thrillers of the year, and just being 2 hours and 12 minutes long, it felt way shorter than that, at least in my opinion. Number 4 is Gerald's... Damn it! Gerald's Game! A Netflix film, another Stephen King adaptation, but one that I knew jack shit about. I just went into watching it expecting to watch Carla Gugino trying to escape from her bed, but it's way more than that. The backstory of Gugino's character was very disturbing, very unexpected, and I love the different metaphors, the different themes and aspects that we find throughout the movie, that we discover, and the ending, a lot of people didn't like it. Thematically speaking, it's the only ending that we could have gotten. A little bit cheesy? Yeah, sure, but it worked for me. It truly worked, and Carla Gugino, I dare to say it's an Oscar-worthy performance, and it's not going to get recognized barely by anyone, but if you're watching this, you were fantastic. And now we get to the final 3 movies of the year. I love these 3 films, and I kept on changing their position, like with most of those lists that I do. It's just, they keep on changing and changing, so don't take them too seriously. But these 3 films, they were outstanding films this year. The first one is Raw at number 3, this Belgian horror cannibalism film that is not as gory as I was expecting it to be, and it is way more artistic, way more beautiful, way more emotional than I was expecting it to be. Instead of being about a girl in a college, veterinarian college, who becomes a cannibal, it is more about the relationship between her and their older sister, and how she becomes more sexually open to an extreme when she starts eating flesh. It's a big-ass metaphor, some may say even obvious metaphor, but it works in this film. And it was just very effective in how it used gore sparingly. It isn't overtly violent, it isn't crazy or like a B-movie. It is handled with a lot of care that I was not expecting, and it made for a pleasant surprise and one of the most beautiful films of the year. Ironically so, because there is some people eating, human eating, flesh eating moments in this film, but still I was not bothered by it. I was more saddened, if that's a word. At number 2, we have a film that probably very few people saw this year, but The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Whew, this film was a thoroughly disturbing roller coaster ride of just plain being uncomfortable, with Colin Farrell delivering one of the best performances of his career, Barry Keoghan just playing a disturbing freaking kid, Nicole Kidman being very good as well. Yorgos Lanthimos, the director and writer, just channels his inner Kubrick with the camera work, with the tension, how it is built up. You have your straightforward, very cold dialogue scenes that we've come to appreciate from his movies, but boy, it got incredibly intense during the last 30 minutes, and the themes of just revenge, how they are tackled very differently from other movies, just guilt and accepting responsibility for fucked up things that we did. It's an engaging film from start to finish. It's very slow, like some other films in this list. I'm a sucker for slow-paced movies, slow burns, but if you haven't watched it, definitely do. It's quite the experience. And at number 1, we have Get Out, a film that a lot of people are starting to call overrated. Like, I don't see the appeal of Get Out. I went into Get Out expecting it to be the overrated movie that a lot of people were talking about, but I ended up loving it even more than I expected, especially after a couple of rewatches. Get Out is the horror thriller of the year in a multitude of ways. First of all, Jordan Peele, directorial debut, fantastic, outstanding. Daniel Kaluuya as the main character, incredibly sympathetic guy. Catherine Keener, Alison Williams, and the rest of the supporting cast, they all do a fantastic job, but it's the themes of the film, of racism, that just work so well. And even if you don't like those themes, this is a genuinely fun and also disturbing thriller that starts off like a dark comedy and slowly starts getting more and more disturbed, and there is a constant feeling of unease throughout the entire film, and once we get to the climax and the sunken place, it is just a visually stimulating, very rich film to watch that was just a blast. And if you find it overrated, okay, that's fine by me, but I loved Get Out. So guys, this is my list of the top 10 horror thrillers of the year. Tell me in the comments below some of your favorites, tell me if you agree with me, disagree with me, don't be an asshole and just say you're wrong. This is my personal list. If you think Get Out is overrated, or some of those movies are just not horror thrillers, like some people are saying, it isn't a horror or a thriller, we have different opinions there. But still guys, thanks as always for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.